obviously a little note here, they didn't even have a military force technically until the 2600s, so they had a few hundred years of actually not having an official force. But as I said, that's pretty much it. Apart from one thing that happened that kind of affected some of the SLDF kind of things going on, or the Star League, a little bit earlier on than now, which is the Santiago massacre, which started off as a DCMS Locust was standing on a planet, I think minding his own business, when some children decided to start throwing some snowballs at the mech, which I think obviously that's fine, there's nothing too bad about that. However, the Locust pilot probably reacted a little bit and decided to throw some coolant down at the children, probably to scare them off, and probably didn't go to plan. Yeah, he ended up burning, I think, a child or a couple of the children with the coolant. Yeah, probably shouldn't throw that at children. So yeah, it doesn't get much better as this goes on. So this then leads to, I assume, family members and citizens around the area kicking up a bit of a fuss about this happening, throwing maybe objects, rocks, I don't know, Molotov cocktails, that kind of thing. It's no longer snowballs, it's now things that are probably going to start damaging the cockpit.
Molotov cocktails are my favourite kind of object. It's the only time I've ever heard a Molotov cocktail referred to as an object. It's
an object. It's the kind of area in space I wouldn't expect them to have that, but I'm trying to think they'd probably have something that's damaging the mech, or not damaging massively, but obviously distressing the mech warrior, because as this happens, the Locust mech warrior accidentally trips over, then crushing some of the rioters and aggravating the situation even further. Mech warrior, even more addled from this, then decides the best course of action is to start opening fire with the dual machine guns from the mech into the crowd. And the rest of that is history. This leads to even more riots, and then this information spreads across the inner sphere and periphery nations and leads to a number of agreements, and some of the discussions going on at this point starting to dissolve and people backing out of some of the treaties. So not a fantastic day for that mech warrior. I don't really know what happened to him after that, but I assume he probably wasn't in the DCMS any further, and knowing them from the previous episode, I'm sure it may have involved some sort of swords and beheadings.
Probably like the worst day for the people that got squashed by the mech, I would assume. Probably the worst day you can have to getting squashed.
Yeah, well, like I said, it just started off with some kids throwing snowballs at a mech, and obviously it probably didn't need to go as far as it did, but it did, and is immortalised in that some of the across the inner sphere at the time, it caused quite high tensions, that happening.